I've got some bad news for anyone still using Google Assistant to add notes and items to third-party applications. Last year, Google announced they would cease supporting this feature for Google Assistant on smart connected devices, including phones, tablets, watches, speakers, and displays. The deadline is fast approaching, with the cutoff date happening on June 20th. This was a feature Google announced for its virtual assistant back in late 2019, and it was great news for Android as a whole, but also brought in some new users to the third-party apps that Google Assistant was being integrated with. Since then, we have had the ability to add notes and list items to Google Keep, Any.do, AnyList, and bring shopping lists. Many felt like it was only the beginning and that Google would be opening up its virtual assistant capabilities to all third-party note and list apps. However, that didn't seem to be the case, as this was the last major announcement for the feature since its inception. It wasn't until June of last year that we learned Google Assistant would be losing this feature in a year's time. Some had hoped that Google would change their minds before the cutoff date, but the developers of AnyList have recently confirmed that this would not be the case, and that Google Assistant note and list integration for third-party apps will be disabled on June 20th, just a few weeks from now. Personally, I never used this feature, but still, I feel this is a major disappointment and the complete opposite direction that I would like to see Google going. Android shines when we're able to customize it to how we want to use our device. The same goes for Google's other services and smart devices. This is a move that I would expect to see from the likes of Apple, not Google. I'm sure the Mountain View tech giant has stats and numbers showing how few people are actually using this feature and how they can't dedicate the time and effort into supporting features that are only used by a small percentage of their users, even though this is a company making billions in profit every year. But I also see this as a pattern the company has been taking Android as of late, removing features and limiting customization options. And it does not bode well for those who have enjoyed Android for its openness, for its ability to allow people to use the devices how they liked. Which I feel is ironic, since this virtual assistant integration doesn't seem to be going anywhere on platforms like Siri and Alexa. Many have said Google is taking Android in the direction of how iOS used to be, and that Apple is opening up iOS more and more like Android used to be. It's clear that both companies see each other as competition, and they're trying to do what they can to poach users from the other side of the fence. I just wish this was not the case, since I switched from iOS to Android back in late 2012, specifically because Apple began restricting features on old hardware in an attempt to make people buy the next generation of devices. If you're one of the people who have been using Google Assistant to add notes and items to a third-party application, you will need to be aware that this feature will no longer be available after June 20th. You will either need to switch over to Google Tasks, since it looks to be retaining its Google Assistant integration, or switch to using Alexa as your virtual assistant of choice on your smartphone or tablet.